The world was a different place 250 years ago. In the 1760s and 1770s, many people in Europe still believed in dragons. But they also believed in new ideas, like science, which they called natural philosophy and natural history. Mapping, observing and collecting were all reasons to visit other parts of the world. In America, there were new ideas about freedom and the rights of individuals. Many people went to war to fight for these principles. One small ship, about the size of a train carriage, connected these amazing developments around the world. This is its story. Whitby was one of the main shipbuilding ports in England during the 18th and 19th centuries. In 1764, the Earl of Pembroke was built to carry coal from the many coal mines in the northeast of England. This little vessel was about to get its first big assignment. In 1768, the Earl of Pembroke was renamed the Endeavour. It was fitted out to carry a full crew of sailors and a complement of marines. There was space below deck for the storage of food and supplies, as well as many animal and plant specimens that the party of scientists were planning to collect. In charge was Lieutenant James Cook, one of Britain's most capable navigators. He was about to lead a voyage which he said was farther than any man has been before me, but as far as I think it is possible for a man to go. Cook's crew comprised botanists, astronomers, and illustrators. The primary goal of the expedition was to observe the transit of Venus on the recently charted island of Tahiti in the South Pacific Ocean. Here they were lucky to meet and recruit a local Tahitian Ario, a type of priest. Tupaia was also a skilled navigator and communicator who contributed immensely to the success of the voyage. Joseph Banks and his team of artists and scientists were also recording the different plants and animals they found. But Cook also had secret orders from the Admiralty, which asked him to travel further south towards the land mapped by Abel Tasman, then explore this continent. He was ordered to take possession of any convenient lands in the name of the king, with the consent of the owners, if the land was inhabited. Cook produced new maps of the Pacific region and was the first European to circumnavigate and chart both islands of New Zealand. The Endeavour then headed west until they saw the country of the Bidawal and Gunai peoples, a place they called Point Hicks. They then sailed up the coast, staying a week in Guigal country near modern-day Sydney. They named it Botany Bay, after all the plant specimens collected by Banks. They travelled north until the Endeavour ran aground on the Great Barrier Reef, and Cook's crew were forced to jettison lots of heavy cargo, including 6 cannons and iron ballast. It took 23 hours to refloat the ship before Cook could sail to a sheltered beach on the coast. This was on Kugu Yimata country, the site of the town now known as Cooktown. Cook and his crew took 7 weeks to repair the ship. It was here they made the first recorded British sighting of a kangaroo, an animal unlike anything they had seen before. As large as a greyhound, of a mouse colour, and very swift. Cook continued his journey north through the Great Barrier Reef, then across Torres Strait to the city once called Batavia in Indonesia, and back to Britain. After Cook's triumphant return to Britain, the Endeavour was retired from service and sold. Cook went on to make several more voyages to the Pacific in other ships, and the Endeavour appeared headed for the scrap pile. In 1776, the old ship received a reprieve. The American War of Independence was in full swing, and the British needed to get more troops to the rebel colony. Now called the Lord Sandwich, 203 German troops boarded the newly refitted ship, bound for New York in America. The Lord Sandwich then sailed to Rhode Island to bring supplies to the garrison at Newport. A decision was taken to sink ships in a line to make a barrier to keep the American and French ships out of the harbour. And so it was that one of the most important ships in the histories of Australia and Aotearoa, New Zealand, disappeared from memory for over 200 years. In the late 1990s, news surfaced that the Lord Sandwich, one of 13 ships scuttled in Newport Harbour in 1778, might actually be Cook's original ship. Maritime archaeologists from Australia and the US began a series of dives that have continued almost every summer for the last 20 years. In challenging conditions, fighting intense cold and low visibility, the work of measuring and sampling the wreck has been painstakingly slow. But results were extremely encouraging. Finally, in February 2022, the Australian National Maritime Museum officially announced, on the basis of all available evidence, that the ship in Newport Harbour is definitely the HMB Endeavour.